Adam Plus Vox here, and if you've followed my gaming channel to any capacity, you've probably known that I've gone on various kicks of collecting and playing and interacting with retro games. It's something that I quite enjoy when I'm just playing games for fun. Well, on one of my most recent kicks, the company Funstock Retro from Funstock, which is a UK hosted site but they do ship worldwide, sent me over their RetroLink Nintendo GameCube controller for PC. I was pretty excited for this. GameCube emulation is never the most, performance optimized thing in the world, but it's something that's still really fun to do, and it's not quite as much fun when you're not playing on a GameCube controller. That's one of my things, which is why I always like playing on the original consoles, because nothing beats playing a game on the controller you played it on as a kid, and I don't know, it was just pretty cool. So I'm excited to review it for you today. This video was brought to you by Amazon Prime. The holiday shopping season is almost in full swing, which means you'll want your gifts shipped to you fast and free. I've been using Amazon Prime for about 3 years now, and I'm not sure I could live without it. Check the link in the description below for your 30-day free trial, which will cover the entire month of November, including Prime-only sales on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, along with their other benefits such as streaming music, movies, and TV shows, and frankly a plethora of other things. Check the link in the description to learn more. Again, this came from Funstock Retro, which I will post a link to in the description below. They have tons of retro accessories, controllers, even, modern retro console adaptations, things like that. And they have various controllers for NES, Atari, 64, and stuff like that as well. And physically, this is pretty much the same GameCube controller that I have for my actual GameCube. Now, I will start out by saying right off the bat, the build quality is not the best, but it's not going to affect your gameplay in any way other than the D-pad, which I'll touch on in a moment. Taking a physical tour of this controller, it has a 6-foot USB 2.0 lead cable, which means you can hook it up to your computer. It's not going to work with the Wii for the GameCube controller for Smash or anything like that, but it will work with PC and Mac. It's not braided, it's not super rubbery, and it's not super thick. Like it'll it's not going to hold its shape too much, which is a good thing. And then the physical shell of the controller is essentially the same as every other GameCube controller ever. Pretty cool. Instead of the GameCube logo, it does have the RetroLink logo on it, but then all of the buttons are mapped and labeled just like they normally would, even with the little bump on the Z button at the top. Now, the shell itself is one of the weaker parts of the controller, as while it'll hold together very well and is made of some hard plastic, there's quite, I don't know if you can hear that, there's some creak to it when I try to apply pressure. None of it comes apart, none of it separates, and it doesn't feel like, unless I just went at it or threw it really hard against the hard wall, it would break, but it certainly isn't as rugged, as tightly put together as the original controllers. The left and right triggers, or buttons I guess, are actually very satisfying to press. The Z button is actually the best button on here. It is the clickiest, most responsive, and just satisfying click of any of the buttons. The A, B, X, Y buttons are not mushy. They're just standard buttons, just like I remember on the normal controller, as well as the start button. It doesn't have as much click to it, but it's not super mushy either. C-stick isn't too tight, super responsive. Joystick, same thing. It's a little bit looser than the C-stick, as it should be, and it's fairly easy to control. And in my gameplay, I played even, high precision games like Ikaruga. I didn't notice any issues with it not, lining up to where it's supposed to aim. My big complaint, the D-pad. The D-pad itself is super mushy. Now, I do kind of remember the original D-pad on the GameCube controller being a little bit on the mushy side, but this, I just kind of press down on the up button and it presses the whole thing in, and it's not very responsive at all. I don't like it. I don't like D-pads in general though on controllers. They're usually pretty bad in general. The Xbox 360 had the worst D-pad that I think I've ever used on their official controllers. So it's not a huge deal, and not that many games use it in a super precise manner, but it is something to keep in mind. Overall, it's a pretty awesome controller. Like I said, I put it to test. I played a little bit. I started Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, but it had 20 minutes worth of intro cutscenes and stuff, so I didn't get too far just yet. And then I played a little bit of Ikaruga as well. That game is always a lot of fun, and this controller made it actually feel like I was playing it on the original console that I had, and so that's really cool. If you don't know, I lost my original GameCube in a flood back in 2009. That, my original Nintendo 64, all of my Nintendo 64 games, and all of my Super Nintendo games maybe, were all in a, game box in our basement when our basement filled up with 6 feet of water. And so I didn't have any of that. So that's why, again, if you follow my gaming channel, link to that will be in the description below. I recently picked up a friend's Nintendo 64 and Nintendo 64 game collection, and I'm hopefully going to start building back up my GameCube stuff as well. So overall, pretty awesome controller, pretty great to have it on PC. Very true to the original build. It's just got some minor build quality things in the shell construction and then the D-pad itself. But none of that's really deal breaking for me to get it and use it as a replacement, unless you just get a USB adapter for your original controllers if you have them. Thank you so much for watching this video of the RetroLink GameCube controller from Funstock Retro. Thank you to Funstock Retro for sending me this controller. Link to this will be in the description below. It's been a super busy month. I should have reviewed this like a month and a half ago, but it's been ridiculously busy with the holidays. And hope you all have enjoyed the crazy amount of reviews I've done lately. It's been more work than I've done on a level since back like 2 years ago when I had 2 jobs, YouTube and school full time. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. We will be having some channel updates and the office tour and things like that coming in a couple weeks, hopefully. Stay tuned for that. Check out links to our sponsor and all that jazz in the description below. I'm gonna go play some Zelda.